How's it going, guys? Corey here in Vietnam. This time I'm in Ho Chi Minh City. Just came back from Hanoi. Have been working closely with the team over here as of late. I'm sure you guys have seen the big changes as well. I will address that on this video, but we're just going to dive straight into the AMA. You guys gave me a lot of questions, so I probably won't be able to get to all of them. I do apologize, but I'm going to break down the most important ones that I did see, the interesting ones. A lot of them pertain to basically the same thing as well, so I should be able to cover a majority of the questions. I apologize if I do miss any. All right, let's dive in. I do have a little bit of a list on my laptop, so I'm just going to be reading off that. I apologize if I look away. I'll dive right into it. These are some of the main questions that most people have been asking. I think this person asked about 85 questions, but it's okay. I will try to cover all of the main ones here. So why did Ken get voted out as CEO? And as the newly appointed CEO of Mirai Labs, what changes would you implement to the company? Would the mission and vision still align with what Ken started? Would there be staff changes? What makes you think that you can lead this company to new heights? Okay, so the first one, why did Ken get voted out as CEO? It wasn't a vote or anything like that. Basically, it was just an agreement from the board of directors. We all came together and agreed that we wanted to go in a separate direction. And that's not what the direction that Ken wanted to go. And so we decided to part ways. It was as simple as that. There wasn't really anything crazy or something that looks like a Hollywood movie or anything like that. This is generally pretty normal in most companies. If there is a misalignment with a specific direction, you just go and discuss with each other and come to an agreement. And the next part is, what changes will I make to the company now that I am CEO? So they've kind of already started, I would say probably about a month ago, maybe a little bit less. We did start to implement some of those changes. They were around things like internal procedures and processes, job roles, job descriptions, all of that type of stuff. These are things that are fundamentally important to any company, and we need to do that from the ground up to make sure that everybody is aligned on the same vision. Speaking of vision, that as well is something that was brought up here, but we do need to also be aligned, going in the same direction and understanding the direction that we want to go as a studio. So that's what we have been figuring out these last 30 days. There's a million and one different directions that you can go. So we all need to be 100% clear on the direction that we do want to go and agree upon it, then lay it out for all of the staff to see. So the vision is likely going to change for sure. I think now that time has changed and also we have a lot more data and experience than back in the early days when we first started about just under 12 months ago, I think it was now. A lot has changed for sure. And we need to take that data and experience and of course change direction to where we see is probably going to make us survive a lot longer than previous expectations or our previous theories. The next one is, would there be any staff changes? For sure, I think you guys are going to see gradually there is going to be staff changes. A lot of key staff will be swapped around, maybe changing positions or will leave. That is, again, just normal. We are doing new budgets. We're changing direction that some people may not align with, or maybe this is just a good opportunity for them to jump into something else that they are interested in while we do a bit of a switcheroo. So yeah, for sure, there's going to be a lot of staff changes. Some of them are going to be because of the budget, but some of them are just going to be out of lost passion or a passion in another area, which we completely support. When staff do come in, we try to make it as clear as possible that we just want to be a stepping stone for something bigger in their career. We don't want to lock them in and keep them here forever and make it feel like a prison. We want to be a place where they can gain experience, everything that they could ever imagine, and then take that into their next part of their journey, whatever that just happens to be, whether they go and build something on their own, they join another bigger company, whatever it is, we just want to be there to support them as well. So it doesn't matter for us, entirely up to them. If they are happy, then we are happy too. And then finally, what makes me think that I can lead this company to new heights? That's a tough one. Well, of course, I have belief in myself and the ideas that I do have and the thesis that I do have. However, that's going to come down to my ability to execute as the CEO. So obviously, the best procedures, the best management, and aligning everyone with the correct vision. I'm not an expert. I don't believe there is many people out there who could claim that they are experts, but of course are going to give it my 110%. And hopefully, the result is going to be something enormous, but I guarantee you it will take time to get there. So this one's from the same person. It is quite long, so I'm going to break it down a little bit and shorten it. As we all know, the economic model did fail. This is not about the token being so low, but the DAU getting lower and lower. The DAU itself is a crucial point to your success as a company, and how do you expect to bring in new people to the game when it's released? Of course, DAU is exceptionally important. I think the peak that we saw was 200,000 daily active users. That was when things were going absolutely crazy, pandemonium. Most of you guys experienced that time. So it was crazy times, and of course the DAU is going to be absolutely insane. The data that we're tracking at the moment is that the DAU on month to month, without us putting any money in, is dropping around 7% a month on average. For us, we think personally, the fact that there is no, I guess, quote unquote earning potential and the gameplay isn't optimized, all that type of stuff, this drop is not enormous, for sure. What it essentially does is mean that there is a core base of players there. Now, some of them will get bored, and in general, you are going to lose players every single month. And the reality is we don't have any user acquisition strategies running at the moment, or quote unquote marketing running at the moment. So of course, as you could expect, from peak, when it's organic, there is going to be a downward trend. That is just how it is. And on average, what we're seeing is about a 7% drop. Now, acquiring new DAU, that's a completely different story. So of course, you guys already understand the roadmap is nowhere near complete. However, at some point it will be at a point that we believe it is ready to be marketable. When we get to that point, again, we would hope that the DAU does begin to increase again. Now, will the game model or will the game's design still be the same as it is now? I don't know. Will the players be coming into the game for the same reason that they did previously? I personally highly doubt it, because we aren't sure if we align with that direction anymore. I will discuss that in a little bit more detail in probably a couple questions after this one. But in general, yes, of course, there is going to be general strategies to acquire more users, but right now, that is not the focus. We need to build out the core product and make sure that it is appropriate for onboarding users. All right, there's a couple general ones here that I should be able to answer pretty quickly. Interoperability, cross-chain use of Pegaxy NFTs in other games. Does this mean our Pega will show up in other games? That's possible. However, we have to understand the idea of interoperability, all that type of stuff. The NFT is just numbers. Again, you need to remember that. So your NFT itself isn't actually a horse. It's just numbers on the chain. So having that in your wallet represents that you do own it for sure, but what it looks like could be completely different in another game. So your NFTs definitely are easily interoperable. However, being that they are interoperable and being able to go into another game can sometimes mean that it creates the ecosystem to be very complex, because they are generated in another game and they affect the other game. It can be quite complex. So interoperability sounds amazing for sure. And I think in the early days, we thought it would be very, very simple. But the more you dive in, the more you look into it, the less promising it does look in the short term, and the more interesting it looks in the long term. When will the crowned Pega be released? So I think the team are working on it in this cycle. You guys should see, I think, some updates coming out pretty soon about the crowned Pega. They've been working on them quite a long time. If I could explain to you guys how intense it is to build out these 3D models, you wouldn't believe me. These aren't just skins and a basic model. These are full custom 3D models built from scratch. So they take quite a lot of time to produce them. And in some cases that may have been a mistake. However, that is the choice that we did make. And we take pride in what they do look like. However, regarding that, there may be a few changes in the future, but that's for the future. I'll leave that for the future. Maybe another AMA. Can we buy back all of the Viz so that it will restart the economy? And or if not, is there a possibility of making another coin to replace Help Viz? For sure, we don't have any plans. It's likely physically impossible to buy back all of the Viz. Being on a DEX, for one, the price just continuously increases, but also not everyone is going to sell all of their Viz. So that's likely never to happen, and it's probably not going to be a strategy that we employ in the short term or even the long term. If that changes, of course, we would let you guys know. But right now, yes, we have a grand total of no plans to do a buyback just to pump up the price or reduce the circulation. That is not the direction that we would take. And then is there a possibility of making another coin to replace or help Viz? I don't think it would be appropriate to try to restart that same loop that we experienced in February, knowing that not a single person in the industry has ever created a sustainable or ecosystem, or an economy, I should say, that does work. Right now, I don't think repeating that just to attract more users and more money for the studio is going to be appropriate. We need to find another route, which I think that we are taking the direction for, instead of just restarting or cloning basically what happened previously. Again, I just don't think it's appropriate. Okay, this one, I'm not sure if he likes me very much, but I'll answer these ones. I'll go through as many as possible here because I don't want to make the video too long and there is a lot here. So the first one, what's the purpose of complete silence other than an announcement from the Pegaxy team, even though the hate from the prize pool changes died off? Literally the only thing that I've been doing is working this entire time. So, I mean, for sure, from when we first started, I had to do as many videos as possible because the updates that we were doing, we didn't have good processes in place for explaining it. We didn't have written explainers. We didn't have other people that are able to do videos, didn't do the social media posts. We didn't have customer support as good as it is today. So there was a million reasons that I did have to do videos on basically every single update. But now we're at a point where we have a very, very good communication flow where you guys really don't need me to do a video on every single update. So it would likely be someone else. Plus the amount of time that it takes to do this, edit it, then upload it, it's multiple days almost, probably 1.5 to 2 days for me to actually get it right. Of course, that's quite a bit of time if you want me to do a video on every single thing like I was doing previously. For sure, I personally believe that communication should be a lot higher. However, I don't want to give you guys information that may change because of how many changes that we have been having internally over the last probably 2 to 3 months with so many direction changes and ideas. It's just not appropriate to tell you guys something when it may not come to fruition. And it's probably been the best decision that I've made because there have been so many changes. Now things are getting a lot more clearer and we're able to see, I guess, the horizon in a general sense. Of course, that's why I'm here doing the AMA, because I'm able to let you guys know what is happening. But again, the day-to-day, the back and forth, the politics is just not appropriate to talk about because that's what happens in companies. If you guys have a company, I'm sure you can understand. That's just what happens, and talking about it to the public is no help at all. Pegaxy team or Corey's intentions was to market the game after skill-based product is shipped. Any idea whether there'll be marketing done after the first skill-based gameplay is rolled out? I think what we've learned since saying something like that is more so the user onboarding experience, and being able to generate revenue is just as important as the gameplay experience. For sure, we can have the best gameplay in the world, but if we can't sustain the servers, you're not going to have a game. And that's just the reality here. So if we're doing this marketing and the cost per acquisition for a user is $50 because of the onboarding friction generated by blockchain, then again, we're going to be marketing for about a week and we'll have no money left. These are all things that need to align. So for sure, when we look at the player control, that's an area where we do want to have completed by the time that we do marketing. However, if we don't have a great onboarding experience, plus we don't have revenue generating systems inside the game for people who are not going to be doing trading, unfortunately, it's just not going to be sustainable for us as a studio to go and do the marketing. I don't expect to be able to generate profit or anything like that for the studio very early on once we do go to market. However, of course, we need to have the systems in place so that we can refine them, not implement them after the fact. We must have them before the fact and then refine them and optimized as we are live. So until that time, I don't expect marketing to happen, and it would not be wise of us to rush into that, because if that money is wasted, it's not going to come back easy. This one here is asking me if I will be active all the time in the Discord community. For sure, I think I can be more active in the Discord community as well. However, we just got to make sure that the conversations that I'm having are constructive and not abusive or the same thing over and over and over again, because I can't sit there every single day answering the same questions. We have the best customer support in the entire industry, and I'll stand by that 110%. Plus, we have some of the core team members who do view it and sit there almost every single day looking at it. And of course, you have Daisy, who has direct access to every single staff member in the company who is able to answer any questions that you guys do have. So for sure, she's the one that arranged this AMA. She essentially forced me. She was like, they're demanding it, so you got to do it. So I was like, all right, boss, here we are. So for sure, I could sit in there all day and just entertain the conversations. However, you guys have got to understand that the conversations that I have in there are repeated about 1,000 times over. I don't want to do that. I completely understand where you're coming from. However, again, I'm just not going to entertain conversations that ask me the same thing, like when is Viz going to pump? When are we going to go back to when it was like February? Can I make $100,000? You scammed me. Stuff like that is just a complete waste of time. And obviously, I've got to look out for my mental health as well. If I'm sitting in there and that's all I get thrown, I'm not going to want to be in there. So for sure, if we can have normal conversations, I'm all down. And I do watch it sometimes. However, I'm just not sure if the community is ready for that just yet. This one says, are we on track for the roadmap? And will there be any changes in the direction of Pegaxy? On the roadmap, I would say there's probably going to be some things moving forward and some things moving back. There's just going to be more so things moving around, maybe some additions as well. I'm not too sure. I have to speak to the game designers who are working on V1. However, I assume that we are going to have roughly an updated roadmap quite soon, but just wait up for that. Don't take my word for it, for sure. Is there any changes going to happen in Pegaxy? So for sure, there's going to be changes because we've learned so much. I think it's obviously going to revolve around the user onboarding and also potentially in-app purchases or something along those lines as well. But those things still need to be designed and not in the short term going to be implemented because they also need to be built. Okay, next one. Will you decide to revive the economy by listing on actually known centralized exchanges like Binance after the first skill-based gameplay gets rolled out? That's just not how it works. I'm sure you guys would have seen this in my other AMAs. You can't just go Binance list me. It takes time, of course, and generally you got to have a ridiculous amount of hype to be, I guess, chosen for something like that. During the time back when we did have a ridiculous amount of hype, that was not the area that we were focusing on. I'm glad that we didn't do it now because it's obnoxiously expensive to maintain. Trading volume with market makers, all that type of stuff, it's insane. So for now, no expectations of changing, but also the fact that KyberSwap is able to be natively integrated into the game and any user is able to swap instantly, not even realizing they're interacting with an exchange, is likely the direction we would want to go. The user experience over, I guess, price pump. Again. So this is a question that probably 90% of the questions that I will ever get for the rest of my life, I assume, is going to surround this. How to bring back the Viz price and Pega price to its initial height. For that, I have to increase by many, many percentages. How to achieve that? That's just not reality, unfortunately. And I just want to make sure that you guys clearly understand that we have no intent on ourselves putting our money into pumping up prices inorganically. If they are warranted, then for sure, you guys can buy and sell and trade and whatever it is. The price is essentially not in our control. It is permissionless and able to be traded at any time. However, again, we have no intent of, I guess, recycling or mimicking, cloning the same processes and the same hype and experience that you guys had in February. And I want to make that clear to you guys. And I'm pretty sure you will never experience that again in play to earn. It's very, very clear that that system does not work and now people do not want it. So I would hopefully gain your guys' trust again by creating something that you do want to play, independent of the fact if we are going to go up or down in price drastically. If the price is going to go up to $1,000, amazing. That's up to you guys. For us, we're focused on making the game fun and making the system work and making sure that the studio does survive. And if we survive, then we're able to produce more content for you guys. But please, I just want to make that clear. That is not what we are chasing. And we haven't been for quite a long time now. We're just trying to produce something that is sustainable and works for us and that you guys love to play. That's going to take time as well, but don't wait for the pump. Okay, I think I'm going to cry. The camera turned off. So I restarted the recording. I believe I was answering a question about Pegaxy lore, the storyline, and basically what I wanted to say for the third time was that we will likely, hopefully, explain the story of Pegaxy and build attachment through the gameplay itself instead of building a preface pre-story. We could definitely build a pre-story. I think that is something probably that will come in the future, but right now, I want to get people's attachment through the actual gameplay itself. So we will get there eventually, but right now, I believe that is 0% experienced by the users. So very far away, but hopefully we get there. And then the second one from the same person was about supporting Japanese language on the game itself. And I think that's 100% essential. So the POs definitely should jump on that one. I think we should absolutely be supporting the Japanese language inside of our game. 90% of them are obsessed with anime. So I think we owe them one for sure. All right, this is another one. Could you please comment on the recent departures of staff Roka and Ken? And is it possible to offer us some reassurance that the team as a whole is still positive about working on Pegaxy? For sure. You guys know about Ken and Roka. Roka wanted to explore mostly Web3. I think his interest is in mostly Web3. And the direction that we're going with Pegaxy is, well, in general as a studio, is adopt a lot of things from Web2 and plug in blockchain where we think it's appropriate and beneficial to the end user, which would likely mean right now less Web3 stuff. So for Roka, I think it's just obviously going to be an area that he's not so much interested in, and it just makes complete sense to go and explore other things. And I'm sure you'll see other team members depart here and there. That's just normal in an organization. And as I explained to you guys earlier, hopefully it recorded, I think it did, that we want this to be a stepping stone for our staff. We don't want to lock them into anything. So if they want to go explore other things, 100% support them in that. I assume this is an anonymous person here because they've got a fake email, but that's okay. What is the plan with the economy moving forward? Another economy one. Feels like the Web3 game has given up on crypto side of the project and it's basically Web2. So for sure, I think to many people it does look like that. And it's probably pretty clear that the idea of play to earn in the general sense of what we thought it was in February just realistically does not work. And it's important for us to accept that and recognize it for sure. And a lot of the team internally had a lot of novel ideas that we definitely explored and we tried our best to implement. However, it's quite clear that building a game and actively building a game and not a complete game while having an open ecosystem that is generally permissionless and everything else is simply right now unable to work. And I don't think it's going to be the best route for us to continue to build in that direction and give promises and all this type of stuff when we don't have full belief in the system. And we haven't seen an example with billions of dollars going through the industry where a single case works. So for us, it is a bit of a red flag to maybe say, consider a different direction, look at the data, look at what's actually happening and reconsider. And that's what we're doing at the moment, for sure. We said we had 70 to 80K DAU. Since tracking races, that can't possibly be the case with that many races. So where do you get that number from? DAU is daily active users. They take an action on the game. So they don't necessarily have to race. Most owners don't actually race. They'll be buying and selling, trading, renting out, blah, blah, blah. That's still playing the game. In general races, yeah, for sure. It may be less than 70,000 people doing races. That makes a lot of sense. This one here, I do appreciate, thank you so much for this one. Questions, but I just want to say that please take care of your physical and mental health. So many haters out there saying inappropriate words towards the team. So sad to see most of them are my fellow Filipinos. That they are. Anyways, thank you for nonstop work, front end, back end on Discord. Take care, team. God bless you. Thank you, man. Really, really do appreciate it. And for sure, we understand. I think we've got fairly thick skin now. Hopefully, we've dealt with a lot of that negativity. And hopefully the team is able to handle it okay now these days. However, of course, it does still get to them because we care about what you guys say. Yeah, it's difficult in many cases and in most days. However, we're getting thicker skin for sure. And once something's said 1,000 times over and over and over again and you know it is incorrect, then it stops getting to you. So for sure, we have a massive focus internally. Well, I hope to make it a massive focus even more for the team to have good mental health, and obviously physical health is part of mental health. So yeah, for sure. I hope as a leader now that I am able to guide them in a way where they are mentally healthy, independent of whatever happens externally. This is a good one. When are we planning to collab with Binance? Probably never. If I'm honest with you, I'd probably want to do like a Web2 studio or something like that if I have the option, a massive Web2 studio over Binance, for sure. Since you're the CEO, you're more likely to be busier than ever. What are the plans for transparency for the game? Who will take over the place and updating us and creating video updates like you used to? For sure, I think the general updates that you guys are used to are likely never to be as frequent because obviously I'm going to be ridiculously busy, but there will obviously be other routes. And the reason we've reduced these is because we've taken other routes like fully written ones or social media updates or through Discord and just through customer support in general. However, I think at some point we will get to a point where someone else is able to do the videos for general updates like the one that I'm doing now. In AMA, I guess, probably if it's targeted towards me, I should be able to do it. However, for general updates or direction and patches, all that type of stuff, I think it's going to be important to get someone to do the videos. So I guess that's the route that we are going to go for sure. Right now, it's mostly written, I must admit, and on social media posts. But if you guys do want videos, then for sure, we can do videos as well. This is an interesting one. What will the profile pictures have utility in-game moving forward? Or will the profile pictures have utility? There is no intent for them to have utility in the game at all. They're just a novelty for the founding owners, of course. Something that we said early on, and we slowly worked on those ones and produced something that I felt was really, really amazing. I'm in love with them. So yeah, there's no plans to have any crazy utility or anything like that. It's just a promise that we made to the founding owners, and we fulfilled that one. And the last one here seems to be, it's an enormous paragraph about how much he dislikes us. So I think I will skip that one. But yes, I understand some of you dislike us. So I apologize if you have hard feelings towards us, but I still love you. And I hope you feel better soon about us. But if there's any key ones that I did miss, I will cover it in the next AMA. You guys just, whenever is appropriate, just ask Daisy and we can set up another one maybe in a couple months' time, and I'll go through any questions that you guys do have. So I appreciate it, and I appreciate you guys for sticking around and supporting us ever since day one. I truly do appreciate it. And if you have any questions, of course, our customer support, everyone else is there to answer those for you. Stay tuned. There's going to be some pretty exciting stuff coming over the next few months. Let us get these foundations set, and then we'll get cranking again. I'll speak to you soon. Peace.